Hello again, beautiful people. Today I would like to talk about the glory that was Felmyst, Gummy's history, and my thoughts and experiences with it. So for those of you who don't know, Felmyst was basically one of Gummy's pet projects, a cute little endeavor he decided to go for. I think he intentionally, just full disclaimer, I think he intentionally nerfed his population by limiting faction creation to try and keep balance, because I assume, at least, Gummy wanted a balanced server, and he cared more about having a balanced server than he did having a popular server. So I don't recommend future private servers do it unless you are going for exactly the type of environment Gummy's going for. So I think he wants a balanced server with, equalized factions and it's sort of his ideal, right? Rather than, whatever will be the most popular or whatever is going to, get the most clicks on 4chan, right? So obviously those people and the doomers, etc. are going to say, well, dead server. I mean, it really depends on your perspective, right? I come from the old school private vanilla WoW community, so 1,000 people on a server for me is decent enough population. I played on throughout the ages much lower in the vanilla scene, in the TBC scene. I'm not really a TBC gamer. It's not exactly something I enjoy, which is why I really didn't play too much of Gumby Craft. Yeah, it was DOA, but it at the same time, it really wasn't my kind of thing to begin with. I'm not like a TBC player, so I wasn't interested so much in playing TBC to begin with. And, it is what it is. So basically, though, to go into Gummy's history, back in the early days, the original private server days, there was a server known as Phoenix Warsong, which is where I first encountered Gummy. He used to raid as a priest named Innate in Elixium. He did that on Scriptcraft as well, the server he created. So back in those days, private servers were in a much worse spot than they are these days. They really were, bootleg, basically garbage in comparison. The scripts really didn't work for the most part. Most private servers were horribly buggy. In comparison to today, the bosses just didn't even work for a lot of them. Let me put this into perspective. Razor Gore on Phoenix Warsong, the strategy for beating Razor Gore was to DPS down the eggs. So you can think about that as far as how that would come into effect and how you would play something like that. I played it for a little bit. It wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but I was in there on Phoenix Warsong, but that was all we really had back in that day. And then probably the best private server ever in comparison to its time, the one that made the furthest leap out of any private server in at least my experience. Wrath private servers were a lot better coded most of the time than compared to classic servers, but I'm only talking about classic WoW servers obviously in this. Yeah, but one of the better advances in classic WoW servers came when Gummy made Scriptcraft, which had much better boss fights and much better just overall play than all the other servers that were available at the time. It was just objectively better. I remember there were some famous WoW players, Buddhist was playing on it, if you remember that rogue, and a whole bunch of people were playing on that. It was pretty big at the time, and it only had limited population back in the day, so it just gives you an idea of what people consider huge or mega servers. I don't necessarily think private servers need the kind of population that your Phoenix, or not your Phoenix, but your Bloody Nostarius, your those line of servers where most of the freshies are from, the people that came into it towards the end of the private server sort of shenanigans. Those people are experiencing a version of WoW very different from the ones that some of the older players like myself would have experienced, where much smaller population, much more tight-knit community, and you can say one is worse than the other, or, it's different strokes for different folks. Obviously they're different experiences, right? So it really depends on your perspective. For me, 1,000 people is more than playable. It's not unheard of bad or whatever, it's not dead, but that's just my personal experience. If you're a NOS person or whatever, or you're expecting this mega server spectacle type ordeal, then yeah, Felmyst by design is not going to be for you because of the way Gummy limited population on the server. So I might as well explain that. On Felmyst day 1, like just as the server launched, in fact, I just messed up my combo, but whatever, just as the server launched, Gummy basically capped out Horde character creation, and its TBC, Horde is obviously going to be by far and away far more populated than Alliance. That's just innate, the racials are just superior, you know, it is what it is, that's just part and parcel of Burning Crusade. There's not like this weird balance like there is in Classic where, you know, Paladins versus Shamans and the races and all of that. I would argue Classic is much more balanced than TBC. Who knows, when you homogenize things, the determining factors get very tiny for what is actually, oh, I got hit by that, for what is actually playable. But yeah, that's at least how I'm looking at it. Oh no, I didn't save power. I'm done. Trying to get myself killed on this boss, apparently. Is that a second stack? Yeah, that's poggers, but yeah. I will say I love the music here, but, you know. So Gummy basically intentionally nerfed his server's population because he wants to create an environment where it's much more tight-knit, I have a feeling. And yeah, so by doing that, he's basically saying, you know, I don't want this server to be a mega server, I basically want it to have a small but balanced population, and I want to experience that. And he can do that if he wants. I don't think it's the wisest decision. I don't recommend other private servers. Oh my god. I don't recommend other private servers do something like that. I don't know how to tell which way is in or which way is out on this. Don't know the mechanics of this place. YOLO. Free loot. But yeah, anyways. Hopefully these fall off. So that's start, and then that, then go to the right. Okay. So it's first 2, then go to the right, then south. Yay, I did it. Sorry. I have to use brain power for some of this, so I can't talk when doing something like that, because you actually have to think for these mechanics. And me monkey, me no like thinky. So, alright. Oh no. Wind Blossom Whirl. Is this the inn? I think this is the inn, yeah. Sorry, I have to focus here or else I'll die. Okay. So anyways, by Gummy making his private server exactly as he did, he wants it to be small, basically reiterating that point, getting back on track. So one of the symptoms of doing that, though, is that he's made it so, you know, unlike his previous projects, it's not going to be a top-tier competition as far as population goes. It's going to be, by design, very small. And so there's been some drama as well associated with Gummy throughout the years. Like, for instance, between him and Grizzly. Grizzly paid him to bring up a TBC server for them to use. And, you know, it's unclear if he kept the money, if he, like, kept it up, but he didn't keep the server up as long as he said he was going to keep it up, or blah, 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 you know. He said, she said, internet drama shenanigans. You know, I'm not going to go into that because it's kind of water under the bridge. Who cares? It's current year, but, you know, there's allegations, we'll say. I don't think they're as credible as one would like, but let's say they're out there. It would be remiss not to address at least something of them. But yeah. And so, you know, so the history of Felmyst is the original Felmyst got shut down on day 1. I was there and depressed when it happened. So that sucked because I was really hyped for another Gumby server after Scriptcraft because I loved Scriptcraft so much. You know, it was one of the major private servers, one of the biggest advances as private servers throughout the ages, and I thought it was going to be again. Sadly, it was not. So, you know, it is what it are. It just happened to be like that, you know. Sometimes it do be like that. Give me my loots. Okay, so turn this twice when I can. And so, how was Felmyst, though, in and of itself? Like, we've gotten through the history, kind of, you know, how Gummy changed the private server community, how he's been an influential characteristic. You know, I'm not going to go into his personal health issues and a lot of the other stuff. because, you know, I don't care so much about the people associated with it or what's wrong with them personally. I care about their actions, you know. Like, bullying the weird shuttle-bound guy is not nice, but, you know, it is what it are. So, Felmyst, at least to me, it was fairly decent. It was a little buggy. For instance, V-maps were not well done in my opinion, sorry. But that's just factually true. You can and will pull things through walls on Felmyst. That was something I noticed happening a lot. I also noticed some kind of weird bugs with just the classes in general. Like, for instance, I was playing a druid and Maul sometimes would miss, but my auto attack would still go off after the Maul went off. Now, I'm not an expert on TBC, but you know, I don't think if you use your heroic strike-like ability, your auto attack then goes off if you miss your heroic strike. I might be missing that. That might be something that I'm wrong about. I can't remember for sure, but you know, that was something I was noticing about Maul, and I'm assuming that's a bug unless it's like that on, you know, TBC, because it wasn't like that on any other pirate server I played on. So you know, that might be a bug specific to Gummy Core. That might be the way it's actually supposed to be. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's something I noticed that I don't think is right. You know, could be wrong. And obviously the VMAP stuff, though, is just objectively wrong things. There's no working line of sight on a lot of stuff on that server. You pull stuff through walls and dungeons. It's kind of cringe. But, you know, it's workable. It's not the end of the world. Oh, no, I pulled something through, you know, the wall on Shadowfang Keep. I can't play the server. No, it's fine. You know, you can still play, but it's just cringe at times, which, you know, it happens, right? No server is perfect. Gummy's project is still much, much better than, you know, even like Retail's abomination of TBC that isn't even playable anymore, I don't think. Like, I don't think it had as good mechanics as Gummy, so I think Gummy did a better job than Blizzard, so let's be clear here. A lot of that has to do with using the original client and what that entails. I'm not going to go into that kind of autistic spurgery here, but, you know, that was at least my experience of it. A little bit buggy, but overall, it was actually a really decent server, at least for the leveling aspect. And yeah, I did have some OPSEC fails because the people I was leveling with were not completely in tune with OPSEC and what you need to do on private servers to not have OPSEC fails. So, you know, that's remedied. I just won't be playing with people that have OPSEC fails in the future, but, you know, it is what it are. Definitely got to be careful. Did get camped a little bit because of that. Not a big deal. Boys will be boys. But yeah, I personally just couldn't keep playing Felmyst because every single second I was playing, all I could think about was where World of Warcraft headed, what it was going for, and just like the decay of Western video games. And that's just like a supremely depressing thing to me, honestly. So it's really tough for me to play any Western game, especially one that has a history or one that I care about, because then I just see, you know, where it ends up, what the end game of it is going to inevitably decay to, and then I'm just a sad, sad boy. And I don't want to be a sad, sad boy. You know, I don't know if, like, Western video games in general are just ruined for me if I'll never be able to play anything that isn't an Eastern-based game in the future. It might end up being that way. So like this? Is this it? Yeah. I don't know how to do this boss that well. I've only killed this like twice, so, you know. Ooh, you get to watch me potentially mess up and die. Okay, so is it this way or that way? I'm not sure. North, it would be this way? Yeah. Alright, fun mechanics. But yeah, so I don't know how people like can play like, you know, the old school World of Warcrafts in this day and age and still not just feel those pangs of sadness. Because I feel it. I'm not sure if that's just unique or me being like purity spiraling out of control or what. Or if I'm just like a washed up boomer, which is probably the case, but you know, it can't be helped. I'm definitely a washed up boomer as far as video games are concerned. But I still have my fun. Not the best of this stuff kind of anymore, but you know, that just goes with the age category. Your body decays, your brain decays. Eventually, you're going to, you know, rot. So it happens to everyone. You know, I'm slowly turning into a Joe Biden. Is the gist of it. Sad, but unfortunately true and inevitable for all poor human beings. You inhabit this mortal coil along with me. You will suffer as I suffer. He's releasing his Kenki. Oh no. Here it comes. Mechanics. Woo! Double. Okay, so it's going to be behind first, and then he's going to face that way. And then behind to the right, I guess. That's going to be how it goes. So are you going to turn it all? No, you're not turning, so it should just be this way, right? Yes. Yes. Okay, and now it's going to start here, and then he's going to turn. Doesn't look like he's going to turn, I don't think. And then it's going to be behind him, so he's going to turn this way, so I don't move, I don't think. I just stay here. Nope, opposite side. Oh, I've messed up. I'm stupid. Oh, new ability. That's because of I'm doing a different rotation. I don't know what this one does. We're about to find out. I'm about to get a lot more Vuln stacks. Haha. I love Vuln stacks. What are these two skulls? What the hell is this? I'm just staying over here. I'm just going to not focus on my rotation and just dodge. I don't feel like getting any more Vuln stacks than I absolutely need to. Okay, this one's over here, and then is it a double? Oh. Alright, facing this way. Kenki release. Okay, he's releasing his Kank. He released the Kank. Scarlet Auspice? What the heck? Wait, no, this is the fire thing on the floor, right? Yeah. So these are going to expand out into massive waves. So, is this far enough away where I won't get hit? No, I think I will get hit. I think I have to go this way first. Right? It's going to be like this, and then like that. And I think I just run into this corner. Sorry I'm like not even doing damage, I'm just like looking at the floor trying to do mechanics. Pathetic, I know, but... Okay, so it's going to be here, he's not going to turn, I don't think. He might. And then here, and then back over to the left, I think. Yeah, to the left. Yeah. He's releasing his Kanki. I got him here, buddy. You're mine, I hope. Soldiers of Death again, yeah. I've got plenty of time to finish him. Don't know why I'm dotting here. Like, he's not gonna live long enough for it to matter. That dot to expire. I guess it's just insurance, right? Misplay, wasted a single thingy. Do I get hit here? Yeah, I got hit. Greedy. Whatever, I killed it. Can't receive any more comedies. And there's my Roken pot shards. Slowly farming my my next transmog outfit. But yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts on Felmyst. Sorry I just paused to do a boss there. A little bit cringe, but can't be helped. Boss spooky. Very much death. Much swingy sword. Many die. Oh, quick aim. Materia 10. Give me all of your materias that I have earned. Yeah, so in conclusion, don't kill your own server's population by limiting faction if you care. I don't think Gumbe cares, so that's why he did it, but, you know, in the future, if you yourself want to make a good server, you can do that. And as well as, you know, don't have OPSEC fails, especially if you're someone that's known in the private server community or you have people that don't like you. And yeah, you know, that's about it. That's the history, at least from my experience. And you have a good day. Cringe.